going everyone? It's Gavin and Balls to you. I've been asked to do a video on our African soft-furred rats, but I'm going to do a little bit more than just the African soft-furred rats. As you can see from the left and the right to me, we do actually breed fancy rats as well as pets. It's a misconception that a lot of people, just because we breed reptiles, doesn't mean that we don't look after the rats that we may breed for our reptiles. Now, all the rats that we sort of breed up and what have you, or sort of grow up, they're like pets. Okay, we sell the fancy rats as pets. The African soft-furred rats are a little bit different. We do sell them as pets if people want them, but we tend to find that the African soft-furred rat doesn't sell as well as the standard fancy rat. All our rats have a good way of life. That's the first thing I have to say, and that's predominantly down to Beck. She actually takes care of this. I'll call it the rat operation, or the rat cottage. She takes after and looks after all of this. And to be honest with you guys, without her, I don't think it'd be possible to actually, keep the snakes as well fed as what they are without her sort of contributing and looking after the African soft-furred rats and the fancy rats, to be fair. So big thumbs up to her for that, and great support. Can't thank her enough. Going back to the rats, our rats, or Beck's rats should I say, are really looked after really well, and she sort of breeds them. They've all got names, they've all got personalities, and to be fair, I've got a few of my favourites myself. Okay, so just because you breed reptiles doesn't mean you can't look after other animals. Okay, so going back to the African soft-furred rat side of things. Okay, let's start at the beginning. A lot of people recommend either a 1.3 ratio, which is 1 male, 3 females, or a 1.4, again 1 male, 4 females. It's entirely up to yourself, depends on the enclosure. My advice would be to start off with a 1.3 or a 1.4 ratio and build your way up. They become sexually mature around about 54 to 63 days of age. Okay, so that's 54 to 63 days of age. Roughly, they become sexually mature. The minute they start to, or the minute I find that they drop a litter, okay, that's when they become an established group. Okay, so basically, an introduction of a new male or a female would be a no-go. Okay, so the minute they become an established group, they are the group, the breeding group, and that's that. Okay, the only way you could introduce another female, and I'll say female because that's what I know to rather than a male, is to keep one of the daughters in with the group, okay, and grow that female up within the group. She's already established, she'll be fine, and obviously that's one way of introducing another female into your breeding colony. Okay, and again guys, they are colony animals, and a lot of people are worried about inbreeding and interbreeding and all this sort of stuff. I'm not going to do a video on that, I'm not going to go into that, but basically guys, think about it logically. When you're in the wild, when these animals are in the wild, they're not walking around asking each other, oh, are you my brother? Are you my sister? Are you my mum? Are you my dad? It's the way of nature. You'll find that across the world, guys. Okay, so don't be worried about breeding, sons, daughters, mums, dads, all that sort of stuff. Okay, what I will advise people to do is have different bloodlines. So if you're going to create your own breeding colony of rats or African soft-furred rats, get yourself a few different groups from a few different people. So you're introducing fresh bloodlines, okay? And you're going to obviously mix them all up and create your own bloodline or your own sort of colonies yourself. That way you're going to sort of keep, I'm not going to say you're going to keep things pure, but what you're going to do, you're going to strengthen your rodents, okay? They're going to be as best as you can. It's similar to any other species. Whatever you're breeding, it's okay line breeding, okay, for a certain trait, that's fine, you're furthering the species. But when it comes down to, obviously, people worry about sort of defects or anything like that, my advice is, if you're worried about that, guys, just get yourself from different people, different groups, okay? So buy one group off one guy, buy another group off another, okay, and away you go. So back to the African soft furred rats. They become sexually mature around about 53 to 54 to 63 days of age. Okay, so that's when you're going to start seeing some pups and litters being born. Okay, I don't take the male out. I leave the male in with the females, because with African soft furred rats, they do actually, the males do help look after the babies. Okay, so with rats, you tend to take the male out and put the female into a nursery or into like a breeding tub, you know, so where she can have the babies and nice and quiet on her own. The African soft furred rats are slightly different. They work in colonies, as I said. Okay, so keep them together. They're fine. There's no need to segregate them or anything like that. Okay, basically the African soft furred rats here are kept really well. Okay, they have the best quality food we can find for them, and to be honest with you guys, we also give them the best bedding we can find as well. A lot of people use sort of different types of bedding, but what we like to use is like a cat litter type, which is the wood pine pellets. Okay, which is, bear with me. Okay, so like this stuff. Okay, I know you guys can't see that well, and I'm on my own here, so well, basically it's wood pine pellets. Okay, they're ultra absorbent. Okay, they don't give off much dust, so they're okay. Great if you if you suffer with allergies, you're not going to have any issues with that stuff really. Ultra absorbent, and they do lock the smelling really well. For those who breed rats or African soft furred rats, if you've bred both, you know that the rats or the fancy rats actually smell twice as bad as the African soft furred rats. Okay, so these wood pine pellets help fantastic. Again, they're not cheap, they are expensive, but again, these are sounds funny, but what goes into your rats goes into your snakes, obviously. Okay, guys, so you know, you make from that whatever you want. If you're going to put crap into your rats, the rats are going to be crap, and obviously they're going to go into your snakes and so on and so forth. Okay, so please, again, it's all about starting quality rather than quantity, as I keep saying. So that's the type of bedding we use. Okay, that stuff will expand tremendously. It sort of expands massively, so you don't need much of that stuff. Okay, so that's the bedding that we use. Right. Okay, in the UK we don't have much in the way of particular rat food, like I think it's Missouri that you can get in the States. That's really well. It's like a little cube, and it's ideal for rats and breeding rats and what have you. And it's just fantastic. What I use in the UK is obviously a dog biscuit. This contains, and this is the key, guys, you've got to get the fat and the protein percentage right for your African soft furred rats to breed. And what I mean by that is, if the protein or the fat content isn't correct, you're going to have problems. For example, if the fat content is too high, the coat, the fur is going to be very greasy and oily. They're going to have runny poos. It's going to stink to high heaven. Okay, and the chances of them reproducing is very, they reproduce. It's going to be quite slim. What I've noticed, obviously, I've trialled different types of dog food and dog biscuits, should I say, and it seems to be the higher the fat, or the higher the fat content, seems to be you start to have issues. They don't reproduce very well. Again, like I said, the coats don't come out really well. They start to get sort of runny poos and stink. It's horrible. Okay, so the fat and the protein content has to be bang on, and the only way to do it, guys, is to trial and error it yourself. If you're in this country, okay, in the UK or in Europe, well, I'm not sure about in Europe whether you can get it, but I use a brand called Arkwright's. Okay, and it's Arkwright's Complete with chicken. Okay, again, not beef, with chicken. Okay, that's the most important. This biscuit carries 18% protein and just under 8% fat. Okay, this works fantastic. It's a great product. Okay, you can get it in we buy them in 15 kilo bags. Okay, you can get it from most sort of pet shops, I presume. We get it from a local one, does us a real good deal because we buy quite a lot of it. But that's what you want, guys, a good dog biscuit. Okay, so that is 18% protein, 8%, just under 8% fat. That's vital and important. Okay, guys, so that's that. So, one thing you will notice with African soft furred rats, as opposed to fancy rats, is they can be quite sort of cannibals, in a sense of when they have a fight within the group, they will basically, and this is going to be a bit graphic, they will basically tear each other apart, and they'll sit there and they will eat each other. Okay. Occasionally you'll see the moms eating some of the babies as well. The first time I saw that I was quite alarmed, but I've come to realise that that is natural selection. Maybe that baby wasn't quite formed, or the baby wasn't well. What the mom tends to do, or if she's got too many pups in the litter, what I do tend to find is that they will do what they need to do. Okay, that's a natural instinct. There's nothing you can do to change that, guys. Don't think it's the way you're keeping them or anything like that, but be prepared to open that tub one day and find a rat, or an African soft furred rat, half eaten. Okay, whether it be a little pup, whether it be an adult female that have, they've had a fight, and the ones come off the worst. So be prepared for that. That's something that I've had to find out myself, and when I've spoken to breeders who breed African soft furred rats, they've actually confirmed that yes, this does happen. You don't get it happening in standard fancy rats. Okay, you don't get it, or if you do, it's very rare. Okay, so be prepared for that. It's just one of them things that you just have to deal with. Okay. The other thing is, what I've mentioned before, is I find that if you've got a group of African soft furred rats, or a group of rats which are bitey and nasty and horrible, that will breed through into the pups. Okay, so that will actually sort of go through into the pups, so they'll become a bit nasty and horrible and what have you. And it will take a long time if you can actually breed it out. Okay, my advice would be to, if you can, buy groups and make sure that they are handleable, especially with African soft furred rats, because they pack a bite. Okay, I've probably had one bite out of all the years that we've been breeding them. Okay, there's no, again, it just tames them all out. All the babies become handleable because the parents are. So if you're going to get yourself a group and you're going to start setting up yourself your African soft furred rat breeding group, make sure, and I know it sounds saft, make sure basically they're handleable. So when you go to the breeders, pick them up, ask to see them. Say to him or her, would you mind getting them out for me? Can I see you handle them? If they turn around and go, oh no, you handle them, that's a sure sign that, guess what, they're not going to be very handleable, and the chances are they'll try and bite your hand off the minute they get a chance. So that's the time to be wary, because you're going to be handling these animals when you're taking them out, cleaning them, that sort of thing. So ask to see them, ask for them to pick them up. Can you pick them up for me? Can we have a look? And go from there. Okay, guys, so that's a good tip. Okay, so if you're going to buy some, don't just walk away with them, ask to see them, ask to see how they're handled, and go from there. I think pretty much I've covered everything. So just trying to think. Adult Maltese or adult African soft furred rats tend to get between 100 to 150 grams. Okay, you can get them bigger, but normally on average a breeding adult is normally between 100 and 150 grams. Okay, doesn't sound a lot when you compare them to standard fancy rats, but trust me guys, them African soft furred rats carry probably twice as much protein as standard rats. Okay, and I can say that because I can see a massive difference in my collection. Now I'm feeding everything on African soft furred rats. I can see a massive difference in regarding to everything, the colour, the brightness, the way they grow. they grow phenomenally fast, but in a healthy way. Again, I've compared them before. No offence, rats, but fancy rats are like beef burgers. Okay, it's probably the best way. It's probably a bad way to describe it, but this is how I describe it. Fancy rats are like beef burgers for your snakes, whereas African soft furred rats are like steak. Okay, that's how I see it. Just because the African soft furred rat is this big and your standard fancy rat is this big doesn't mean that's any better than that. Okay, so again, from my own experience, I find that African soft furred rats are better. Okay, the flip side to that is obviously you need, guys, if you're going to start feeding your snakes on African soft furred rats, you've got to make sure you've got a good supplier. Okay, someone who can supply you. I've said this before time and time again. Make sure you can get a steady supply of African soft furred rats, because once you start the royals onto them, pretty much, or the balls onto them, pretty much they don't want to come off them. Okay, I will feed some of mine a mix of rats and African soft furred rats, just to mix up the diet a little bit. Because obviously in the wild they wouldn't just be sticking to one type of rodent, they'd probably try and get everything that they could, and occasionally they have been known to eat other snakes. Yes, ball pythons eating other snakes. Okay, it has been known. So they have a varied diet pretty much in the wild. Again, most of the males in the wild tend to live up in the trees from what I've been told and what I've seen, and obviously the females are more on the ground. So again, two different types. The males may be more into the birds, females more into the rodents again. So just bear in mind, guys, whatever you're going to feed your snakes, you need to make sure that you've got a steady supply of these rats coming in. Okay, whether it be normal rats or African soft furred rats. So I think that's pretty much it. If there's anything else, guys, you need to know, put some comments in the comment boxes below. This is going to be a subscribe only video. For those who have subscribed, you will be able to see this. There's a lot of people out there who are quite funny with reptile keepers keeping rats and this, that and the other. So I'm going to make it, it's going to be quite controversial. This video will be, probably. It depends who's watching it. So I'm going to make this a subscribe only video. Again, guys, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment boxes below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support from everyone. I hope this video helps. I can't think of really anything else. All our rats are great, and again, I've got to thank Beck for looking after them and sort of putting the time and effort into them, because without her obviously breeding these, I wouldn't be able to keep as many snakes as what we do. So it's it's a team effort. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you're all having a great breeding season, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care.